For young women, my advice, just have the courage to do one small step and just try. You can fail, but we can always pick ourselves up and go a little bit further. And just don't be afraid to fail, because we fail, we're very sad. Oh, we failed. It's very frustrating. We don't see it as a learning opportunity. We failed, yes, but I learned from that failure.
Hi there, I'm Teo Aquinola and I'll be the host of this podcast series. Welcome to Activism Collectors Women in STEAM edition, powered by Sense Project, a Horizon Europe initiative where Jake is partnering with actors throughout Europe to make science and technology more engaging by combining them with art, helping students learn throughout hands-on experiences and creative activities while encouraging more young people, especially girls, to get involved in this field. Let's dive into today's episode. Hi there, welcome for a new edition of Activist Collectors, Women in STEAM Edition, a Sense project powered by Horizon Europe, an initiative in which Jake, together with other partners, is making science and technology a bit more appealing for youth, especially girls, combined with arts. I'm really happy to have today with me, and thank you so much for the invitation, Ana Stamatescu. Ana is a woman in STEAM, and today we'll dive in her history and what made her choose this domain and how is she succeeding after so many years. Forbes 30 under 30, so many projects, caravans all over Romania, lots of youth. So I'll not say further. Please, let's welcome Ana. Ana, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Great, awesome. Thank you for inviting me. As I was talking with your colleagues before the interview, I think I know Jake since the beginning. So since the beginning of my journey in NGOs, in working with NGOs and education. So really happy to be here. Thank you.
And I'm super glad to have you here, and thank you because you had such a large journey.
Yes, I'm actually Bucharest born and raised, but since 4 years ago, I have been I moved in Brașov, in a small, gorgeous mountain city in Romania, the best mountain city in Romania. I'm going because of my passions, and yes, I had to drive. I came from Brașov.
Great, really happy to hear this. And now, as we start slowly to dive into the conversation, please share a bit with us how you started, or for the people that maybe, I don't know, they saw you in so many places, but they cannot put you a hat. Please make a short presentation. Tell us a bit about yourself, your past, your present, your future, anything you want. Please just tell our audience, because everybody is really looking forward to hear more about you and your awesome realization.
So should I start in kindergarten? How amazing!
Anywhere, just feel free. We are only here to hear about you.
Thank you. No, I will start maybe in high school, or so I did my high school in focused on mathematics and informatics. And actually, it's a funny story that I wasn't supposed to be an engineer. I'm an engineer by trade, for me by faculty.
Okay.
But I was more into arts and architecture, and I started to prep myself for architecture. But unfortunately, I started a little bit late than I should have had. But being in a family full of engineers, so parents, my big brother, engineers, it kind of, I naturally took that road. I don't regret it now, because when eventually I did say, okay, I'm going to do this, let's focus on this. And I knew that my big brother was like awesome, and he's basically he's brainy, smart and cool. I'm more like street smart and the ideas and like implementing. Let's say he knows how a bulb should be changed, but I change it.
Okay.
We're like this duo, I think, in my head. So short story, I prepped for architecture, but I got into engineering. So I'm an engineer. But since faculty, I have always been drawn to this to the NGO area, domain, education, mostly youth. Like Jake has a lot of youth projects, and that's why it's my top 3, let's say, NGOs in Romania, Jake.
Ooh.
Yes, my first is TechSoup, TechSoup, just saying.
Okay.
Dropping names here.
No, very good, very good. We should promote really, and we are really happy that we are in your top.
So I started to deep dive in education projects and youth projects since early in my, let's say, youth years.
So what about your present? Because you told us how it started, but what are you doing in the present?
A lot of things. And then, like you said, let's start with my favorite topic. After I think I have almost 15, 16 years of working in NGOs. I finally had the courage to build my own NGO.
Okay,
And
congrats.
well, yes, we actually have like a 4-month anniversary soon or something like that. Yeah, woo. It's called Krontechis, and our focus is nature education through technology. So basically, what I'm trying to do is combine my passion for the great outdoors, for nature, for bats. I think you will have a passion for with bats, with my professional background and now the world we live in, technology driven. But I want to combine them, and also the focus of the interview will be combining
Yes, intersectionality of
subjects and
okay, really interesting. So now you're mainly in the NGO world, but are you also practicing engineering? Because I know you were practicing,
mhm.
and I know you also had something to do with architecture, and you got a prize by Air. Please tell us a bit more about that.
Well, the fun part of ADHD is like I have a lot of hobbies,
Okay.
like and I'm involved in very numerous projects. So my heart now is in my NGO, my drive. But I do, let's say, have to make a living, like real. Uh,
Yes, because NGOs are basically non-profits. So
exactly, and when you have a project where you can put in the budget human resources, you're like, yes, finally,
yeah.
a sponsor that understands the needs. So my heart is in the NGO, but I am involved in tech projects, more of on the let's say management side, but also on building educational learning experiences. That's also my area of expertise. When I say learning experiences, I say trainings, I say e-learning courses. I have built quite a few learning e-learning courses for adults mostly, for K-12 teachers. So I'm doing projects, tech projects, also artificial intelligence projects. I'm involved with the University of Politehnica now. And you mentioned design. I do have a passion. One of my top passions is design. I started with interior design.
Okay.
I did some courses here in Bucharest, but then it led me to object design.
Okay.
And we had a homework at this course I was doing on my own free time to create a chair. And we had the raw wood material, the chair in itself, and we all had to have how to transform it.
Hmm.
Uh, Now that I think so, there were many objects in the classroom, but I was among the ones who chose chairs
Mm-hmm.
because I like chairs. It's something
Exactly.
useful.
We need anywhere chair.
Yes, after a long drive or this, like through project. So I designed a chair with the help of 2 friends from Timișoara. They were into epoxy objects and jewels. And my challenge to them was, please, can you help me design a chair with epoxy and make it? I had an image of a lake, a frozen lake with bubbles and uh, short story, well, long story short, as I like this phrase. The chair was a vision of. So by day it looked in a way, and by night it had a fluorescent powder
Oh, wow.
glows in the dark. blue.
Okay, so where physics is getting combined with the art and then the engineering part. And
So yes, we can see the dots connecting.
we are already seeing the dots connecting. Wow, really nice. And you won a prize in a very big competition.
It was a nomination. Thank you, but it was like the top objects. But
Okay,
for me, it was a prize.
okay, but congratulations. Basically, you represented us with honor as you represented us in many other competitions and projects. And now that we are discussing about projects, I am sure, and we already mentioned a couple of them, but I want to know which is the project that sparked most your attention, most that your heart is still there. Like, okay, I understand that in your present, the NGO is mainly your main passion and all, but what about from all the things that you've did? If you want to share a couple, or if you want to just tell us your, I don't know, project that most impacted your life and maybe also towards this direction with STEAM.
I know you're smiling because you already know the answer. So yes, I have in my homework. So reaching the topic of bats, again, the real bats, not Batman, I would say for sure. So taking some steps back on how I reached the point I wanted an NGO. My journey, like many other journeys, I think started during the pandemic, where the peak point of my journey. I'm passionate about that since a long time ago. Like I have like 14 years of being very passionate about bats. Where when I first met them in a cave, it's a long story. And in the pandemic, I was during the pandemic, I was working with a lot of K-12 teachers from Romania. We were doing digital online trainings for them, and they found out. Well, of course, I was glad to tell them about my passion. They found out that I love bats, and they invited me in Zooms in their classroom for their children to learn about bats from me.
Okay.
At first, I went with the president of the NGO in which I volunteer because I didn't have the courage to be on my own. And I went with Szilard from Village Pugro. And I started building up the courage to talk more and more with children. And I loved it because it gave me the opportunity to not only to talk about my passion, but also to tell children that they do not they are not bad creatures. They do not suck blood. There are some species that eat blood. We can go very deep in that topic, but I won't. And basically, I started talking about bats, and I had the opportunity after the pandemic, quite let's say ended, but never ended.
Yeah. Or continuing, we continue. No, let's see. Now we are in 2025. Let's see where it takes us. Let's hope not so far.
I had the opportunity to be accepted in a leadership program, Aspen's Young Leaders program, and we had to do a community project at the end of the year. It was a 1 year or long program, and my community project was I wanted to do a mix, so technology, as you said, and my passion for bats, so nature protection, let's say.
Okay.
And my idea was to combine them, and because I was already in the digital skills of learning experiences, why don't I build or do a caravan, like go in different cities, physically go offline, go to those teachers that invited me to their Zooms to talk about bats. But my question to me was, how do I really spark the interest of the children to really learn about bats? And that's where I added the technology layer with robots.
Okay.
So it basically ended, the concept being robotics workshop about bats.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, I was mind blown also. So
It is really because in the moment when you combine technology, this is the advantage that we have in these days, that everything is more real and is more visible and more accessible in another way. Because even if we know certain, you know, we know about bats, we know how they look, we can see them in many movies in caves, but I don't think we dare to touch them. But Wow, the robot part really interesting. Okay, okay.
There were offline robots that I think that was also the appeal of the workshop, because I was going with my own robots, and they didn't have the schools where I wanted to go were in rural and not a small urban cities um, areas, because the technology, well, the schools in those areas don't have a lot of technology, but I wanted the children to understand the basic of coding without actually needing a computer, because these robots are, they're called Ozobots. They are called Ozobots. They follow a path, so they have some sensors, and kids program them with color codes.
Okay.
So you don't need to code like, you imagine a programmer sitting at the front of a computer. No, children use colors. So
Okay.
you're deep diving in A from STEAM.
Yes.
They use colors to program these robots that were in a story they made. They build a story with, I have props like trees and houses.
Oh.
And after I talked about that with them, I gave them the assignment. Now you build your own story, your own world, where bats are appreciated, where bats have a home in the forest, and you have to program the robot bat to go through the forest, so through the city, because we also do have a lot of bats in the cities.
Yes, yes. Say. Yes, yes, I agree. Even in Bucharest, we have a lot of bats around one of the biggest buildings in the world.
And they eat a lot of mosquitoes. Do you like mosquitoes? I don't think so.
Exactly. What we can do, nature.
Protect bats. That is all I'm saying.
Yes. Wow. Really interesting. And you mentioned that you went also in rural. And we all know that things are maybe slightly different between urban and rural. But I wanted to ask, what do you think can spark the interest of young people, especially girls, towards STEAM and towards jobs in these domains?
Mhm.
Because let's face it, I think in many places, as some opportunities are a bit limited, maybe also some of the wishes regarding jobs are also a bit limited. How can we spark their interest? Or
It's a difficult question. So I think I would start by saying that it's important for them to know that having a STEAM job or working in technology does not imply to be a programmer, a coder. So you don't have to be a hard tech person to be involved in a company that is a tech company. You can work, for example, in a gaming company that creates games, and you can be on the art side, on the designing the world of the game. So they have to understand that you can be involved in a tech team without having hardcore technical skills. And I think it's also important for them not only to have role models, but to be encouraged to to uh, try at least, so not try to involve them and in as many opportunities and activities with technology or STEAM activities, also hands-on activities. No, I mean, sick and tired of all the theory I learned in high school. So only theory, and I'm a very hands-on person. If I couldn't see the experiment, I couldn't get it. And it's not my fault. It's my learning process. So I think it's important for them to be involved in project-based experiences in doing. And also, maybe a third point to be made here, it's very important to tap into their hobbies and likes, because if you find out what makes them tick, you can for sure find a STEAM component to add to that, or to show actually to show them that, okay, let's see, you are like buildings. You can be an architecture, you can use the software. So just designing better learning activities that taps into their hobbies and likes. I think that's the one of the key.
yes, I totally agree because as long as everything is more appealing, it will be even more attractive. And you mentioned one of the initial points when we talked about what would spark the interest in STEAM, about role models. And you told me in the beginning the fact that some members of your family or your parents and also your brother are involved in this. But did you have another role model, or maybe a woman that maybe oriented you towards this theme, or maybe inspired you so much, or their actions, or maybe you heard, I don't know, maybe it was someone that you guided?
So my answer would be no, and I feel that nowadays it would have helped me looking backwards, but I could say I was it's a difficult thing. So in my mind, we're talking about this problem. We don't have women in STEAM. We don't. So we are trying to bring women in STEAM, but I think we should be focusing more on just acting natural. It's a natural thing for women to be. Maybe
Yes.
my point to be made here is to change the perspective or change the focus. So not like in a learning experience, you don't say to someone, "Don't do that."
Yes.
You say, "Do that because," or "Look, why it's so good to be doing."
Or you expose both scenarios, if you do that and if you don't do the other thing, and you see the benefits and the lower parts, and then they have the freedom to choose because they have critical thinking.
Mhm. Well, yes, I think the biggest challenge is the first step in girls and women to realize, or for them to have the courage to do those steps towards a STEAM career or STEAM activities, because the first step is the biggest challenge. But when you do have role models, and I do think in their importance, you see, oh, she did it. She's a successful STEAM or tech leader. Why can't I do it? Well,
Well, this is why we are here, because basically with this podcast, we are trying to bring over fantastic woman as Anna here, which did it, and they are sharing with us part of their stories. And again, thank you for having you here. And as we use the word challenge, I know it's a pretty tough word. Maybe I don't want necessarily to talk, as you've already mentioned, about challenges. What did you encounter? Any, let's say, opportunities being a woman in in these domains, these STEAM domains? Because you activate in engineering, you also activate, let's say, towards the art part.
opportunities in on what sense, in programs or
No, I meant I want to say opportunities from point of view. If you have ever felt, I don't know, that it's a bit hard for being a woman, and did you see, I don't know, how you can change something, or let's just basically say, did you ever had any challenges with being a woman in and or maybe, or how did you tackle them also?
Mhm.
Maybe this is what, because as we already know, the domain for now it's way better than in the past. But
Well, an image popped in my head while I was trying to process your question. In my faculty in Polytechnica, Bucharest, we were like there were like 100 of boys, and we were like 4 or 5 girls in my class. Um, but I don't know if it's unfortunately or I'm lucky. I'm not seeing that challenge. If maybe it's my feisty nature, just to I just don't give a rat's ass of the misconceptions. I just see an objective and I go towards it, and I'm not hearing, oh, well, a guy could have done that better, and maybe it's also a luck. Let's say that Romania has this historical background of involving having a lot of women in tech already, in engineers. Like in the communism period, it didn't matter if you're a woman or a man. Everyone could and were encouraged to do a technical of STEAM, more also the technical job or profession. So we are lucky maybe in that sense. And we are also some role models for other countries that did not have this this part. So what I'm seeing, going a little bit back to your question, I'm seeing quite some misconceptions and judgments in K-12 teachers. So for example, I was talking with a colleague of yours before. I had some activities in a rural school, and I was going with robotics workshop, and it's, how do you say, țesut? I still the Romanian
Tissue.
not tissue, like ațese.
Okay. To
Weave.
weave.
To weave. So it was a very hands-on to do your own clothes, let's say, workshop. And I told the teacher about the activities, and I had the bad surprise that at the robotics workshop, she only sent me the boys. And I was like, why do you send me only the boys in the robotics? Oh, no, because the boys are more interested and they will excel better and they will do better. And I was very annoyed, and I was like, bring me some girls. So unfortunately, we do have some misconceptions in some parts of Romania, or some context, let's say. I hate to generalize, but there are some steps we need to overcome to be more open in that area. Yes.
So we already stepped into some warming sands. We talked about challenges. We talked about misconception. Did you hear? Because I know you work globally. Like you're not limited to Romania or European level. What are some of the misconceptions when maybe women want to go towards and girls want to go towards STEAM, and maybe they put or they hear in the market or on internet some of the misconception regarding, I don't know, tech or usually these sorts of jobs?
Mhm. Actually, funny story. Coming here on the drive to Bucharest now, I was with a friend in the car, and it's a hard question, a very hard question, because um well, as I said, I'm a little bit feisty, and I hate misconceptions, and I'm naturally inclined to fight them. And we were doing or I was trying to focus and do a list about misconceptions. Maybe it's like what I have heard. Let's see. Girls or women are far too sensitive for the tech world, and they cannot achieve as much as a man can in a short time frame, or in a long time frame. Um, what what I want to um, maybe I continue with the funny story I'm sharing in my AI trainings. So it was a real case. I forgot the company. It was using AI to pick candidates for a coding or a computer science position, and they fed these CVs in the AI system. And at the end of the uh, process, they found out that the AI had this bias that women are not suitable for that computer science job, but mostly men were hired. So, talking about biases and flaws in the system, we have a history of having these misconceptions at the global level, that women do not prosper or do not excel in tech jobs. But we, on the other side, we see a lot of or I am happy to nothing no I am happy about going back a little bit to role models. I'm happy that I'm seeing more and more role models, but I am seeing, because I'm actually looking for them, I think, but they don't have the spotlights that well yet. So to fight those misconceptions, I would see the more role models putting themselves out there, like in interviews, so very like but also just yes, being more visible.
This is basically the scope of Sense Project. Like we are trying to encourage, especially young girls, to be towards this domain and to understand that um, even if maybe you grew up hearing some of the parts, maybe there are some things that seem really rocket science. Nothing is rocket science, and everything is possible, and it's ready to be done by everybody. Like stereotypes are just stereotypes, and thank you for sharing. Because yes, it's a hard subject, but in the present we are having it way better than our ancestors. That also, how they strived and fight for our rights and for all. And as we are discussing about now, let's leave aside stereotypes and misconception because at least we agree that they are not necessarily true. I wanted to ask you, uh, you are involved with teachers, and we all know how important in the life of every young person is having a role model, and teachers have a lot this role. What do you think teachers should do to influence youth, especially girls, towards jobs or STEAM domains in general to make them more attractive?
The short answer would be providing diverse opportunities. The long story would be me sharing a personal insight. So the subjects in high school, for example, I excelled at the most were those in which teachers were fully immersed in their learning experience, in providing diverse learning experiences. So, for example, my English teacher, I also had this conversation with the friend that drove me here. I loved her, and because I loved the way she interacted with us, she proposed the subject, the exercises. I loved also her subject. So first, I was found fond of her, and then I grew. Her subject grew on me. So I think because it is proven that we are emotionally connected to, so our learning experience is not just theory, it's how we interact with that subject and that, uh, yes, that topic on a personal level. So what I have been doing in the past about 7 years in teacher training, I do teacher K-12 teacher training. That's primary school, secondary, high school. Um, I'm doing digital skills training, and what I'm seeing, if the teachers themselves are very confident in their digital skills or tech skills, that shows, and that's like a snowball that goes in the classroom, and they don't have that fear for technology that could be transmitted to the child, to the pupil. So I would say empowering teachers or building better skills for them, and also teaching or not teaching, providing learning experiences also for teachers so they can provide better learning experiences in the classroom and more adapted to the year where we are living. I mean, a lot of teachers from Romania, unfortunately, have an old fashioned way to teach. And because we know it very well, the attention span of children, also adults, has decreased a lot. You have to provide better learning experiences and more adapted where they are now. For example, you cannot teach only by the dictating a text to a child that has been born with an iPad in his arms. You have to include also technology in the learning process. So you have to adapt your teaching style to their skills, to their natural feels, and yes, you have to adapt. That's the word.
Yes, to adapt. And let's not forget that the school system is usually based on formal education, and this is why NGOs are here and certain institutions to be providing non-formal opportunities. And as we are again tackling the opportunities part, do you feel that AI is a interesting opportunity for the future? And you were referring about teachers, but I think and I feel that also parents, it's interesting to be, pretty adapted, and maybe the communication, it's a triangle basically. Is the teachers, the student is in the top, and then teachers and parents, they should, make like a conglomerate, and all the time be exist this communication and this exchange of information, how we can have a better learning experience for them, how we can orient them better. Do you think AI is really helpful here?
So it's yes, there are indeed a lot of factors involved in the learning process and of the pupils. AI, it has the capacity to maybe to try to how I don't know how would be the better way to say it. So there are some challenges that the AI can help with, but I'm seeing, for example, at the Romanian level, that we're not there yet. I mean, let's tackle the basic digital skills like using a browser, using a computer. But AI, what I'm seeing, because I can share the perspective on AI in teacher training, AI can help make their work a little bit less stressful or help them create better learning materials. So that's where I'm seeing AI now, and I'm also actively involved in in teaching teachers how to use AI to save time, for example, because we know that teachers in Romania, and I'm sure in a lot of countries,
Yes.
have that time problem, not time management, but they have so many things to do, and AI can and is helping them do that.
Yes, yes, I agree also. And if let's be honest, AI is even pretty new on the market as we know it in these forms with, all these new LLMs and stuff like that. How do you think the future looks like for, uh, I don't know, your subject, mm, these jobs in STEAM domains? How do you think the future looks like?
Being a positive person, so I try to have a positive outlook on of the future. I would say so. We all know that's fear that AI is going to take our jobs. Well, it will take some of our jobs, but I'm not seeing as a takeover, as a hostile takeover.
Yes.
What I want to underline that it will be difficult for those adults or children that are not familiar with AI concepts or uh, the basic steps towards AI, let's say, or the basic usage. They will have more difficult time in the future. Just going a little bit back because I wanted to underline also that talking about STEAM and teaching, I would want to see more fun activities in the classroom and teachers doing more fun activities, engaging more in, as I said, project-based learning experience, but also interdisciplinary, because that's what STEAM is about. More connecting the subjects, connecting also doing projects with their colleagues. For example, an English teacher with a biology teacher and a computer science teacher. I'm seeing many good ideas of projects in the classroom that have a way better success for the pupils because they spark a lot of more interest and they're more engaged. So I would was talking about the future for and the learning opportunities for girls also, for them to work in a team, to tap into their hobbies. I think that's the key of bringing them more in the future in STEAM domains.
And do you have any advice for young girls that are interested in STEAM domains or want to pursue a career?
For young women in my advice, I'm trying to see young Anna, or I'm trying to see a shy girl. Just have the courage to do one small step, and just try. You can fail, but we can always pick ourselves up and go a little bit further. And just don't be afraid to fail, because I know that we don't have, like, I know maybe the Americans are better at this. We see failure as a devastating thing. So if we fail, we're very sad. Oh, we failed. It's very frustrating. We don't see it as a learning opportunity. We failed, yes, but I learned from that failure. So just, on short, have the courage to even fail, but have the courage to do that, to see if you're good at it or not. But if you don't do it, you don't do that small step towards it, you will never know, and you will regret that eventually, unfortunately.
And as we are closing really soon, I wanted to ask you if you have a final message for our youth, especially girls that are interested in pursuing a career in STEAM.
Well, I wanted to have a very brainy quote, but I'm missing now the brainy quote. I was thinking about it. Maybe try how was it, reach for the no, for the stars, and you will land among the, how is it, reach for the, oh please,
Wish to get to the star. No,
the moon,
to get to the moon.
to the moon, and you will reach the stars. So don't be afraid to set up big objectives for yourself. Just be also kind to yourself and to your learning experience. And yes, try to reach for the moon, and for sure you will reach the stars. Yes.
Thank you very much. Really inspiring message. And if Anna works inspires you, where can people can find you online, or can you give us an address, a
Well,
page?
that's a hard one, because I still don't have a website for my NGO, and it's really it's very frustrating.
No worries. So on your LinkedIn, and if
Yeah,
you want.
please, any questions, or I don't know, just say hello on my LinkedIn page. I use it
Okay.
quite often. So Ana Stamatescu,
Okay.
and for sure you will put some links there, and they can contact me.
Great. Great. This is how we do. And as we wrap up today the conversation, thank you so much, Anna, again for joining us for another episode in Activist Collectors, Women in STEAM. I am Tewa Kinola, and let's meet for the next episode where we'll dive into way other interesting stories. So once again, see you. Bye bye.